Hello, very good dear subscribers, and welcome to a new video on the channel. Today we have the special video reviewing my portfolio starting from €0 with you. Get ready to discover my second pick in May. As always, first I would like to analyze a little about the evolution of the YouTube channel and how I see it in a couple of months. As you can see, the evolution during this last month has been negative since we grew less than I expected in the daily number of visits, and we have experienced a high decrease in daily new subscribers and visits. Maybe is due to my inactivity only uploading 2 videos this month. As a result, this month we have not reached the goal of reaching 4,000 subscribers. So for this month the goal will be to reach 4,000 subscribers. Do you think we will make it? The evolution of the investment made at the beginning month has been positive, as it has grown more than 10%, and in overall the portfolio also has performed in an excellent way with almost 5% upside. As is a special video in order to cover my portfolio transfer to interactive brokers as I mentioned in the last video, now I will be adding a company that I don't have in my portfolio. The company would be the well-known Visa. I will be analyzing both Mastercard and Visa and explaining why I chose Visa, so let's get ready. Let's start by checking the dividend safety. We have the free cash flow payout ratio for Visa below 30%, while Mastercard has a little bit lower ratios all the years analyzed. Looking into the dividend growth, Visa has a compound annual growth rate over the last decade around 18%, while Mastercard has a higher dividend growth of almost 20%, so a lower payout ratio and higher dividend growth for Mastercard. Regarding dividend yield, currently both are close to the 5-year average, and it is to be mentioned that Visa seems to have lower valuations since it has above Mastercard all the time. Continuing with the evolution of the revenue and earnings, this one has been so positive during the last few years, growing at 16.7% Visa and 51% Mastercard compound annual growth rate since 2017. Now, if we look at the evolution of free cash flow margin over the last 5 years, it is also better than I am expecting in one company, with metrics over 50%. During the 2021 to 2023 period, Visa has had a huge free cash flow margin expansion that in the last few years turned to normal values, but despite this continues having better margins than Mastercard. However, looking at free cash flow yield, actually Visa is below its 5-year average of 3.5%, while Mastercard is above its 5-year average of 2.5%. As I mentioned in my previous videos, I want to make investments in companies that make buybacks. In this case, both have a buyback program. However, the amount of shares outstanding is almost the same since 2019, and it is to be mentioned that during 2025 Visa spent around $20 billion in buybacks and Mastercard $12 billion, so almost 90% of their free cash flow. The price/earnings ratio is a good indicator to check whether a company is undervalued or overvalued, in addition to our fair value analysis. Both are close to the 5-year average price-to-earnings ratio, but there is a clear metric reduction since 2021 may be due to a lower growth expectation to this type of industry in the future. So it would be a sign of a fair valuation when we combine both situations. Moving on to shareholder yield, here the difference between both is more clear since Visa is above average and 3.49% yield, while Mastercard is below the average and 2.2% yield. So whereas Visa is indicating that it is more active in regarding shareholders through buybacks, dividends or total debt reductions, Mastercard in recent years as we saw is also more active, but the price of Mastercard has increased more than regards, so the ratio comes close to 5 years low. Additionally, looking at the financial health, despite both having lower net debt, close to 0.5 times free cash flow Visa and to 1 time free cash flow Mastercard, meaning that with 1 year of free cash flow it can cover its total net debt. Once most of the important metrics have been analyzed, why did I pick Visa over Mastercard? The answer's pretty straightforward. Sure, Mastercard has shown stronger growth, but that's largely because it started from a lower base, with thinner margins. Over time, it's caught up to Visa, and now, both companies are remarkably similar. But here's the edge: Visa is currently trading at a more attractive valuation, carries less debt, and still dominates globally. Both companies are long-term winners and likely to outperform the market, no doubt. But for me, Visa feels closer to home. It's the card I see and use more often here in Europe. And as the saying goes, invest in what you know, and what's in your wallet. Now, we enter the interactive broker and carry out the operation, looking for the V ticker. Remember that I will always try to make a purchase in order to have a commission less than 1%, and here in Interactive the commissions are 35 cents per trade. I made one Visa trade on May 7th at the price of $350.60 and bought 2 shares. So, it represents a total investment of $700 and a commission of 35 cents, which means a commission of 0.05%. With this broker, we're reducing the commission slightly, and in the long run, we'll see the difference. Well, we go on to write down the purchases made in our Google spreadsheet. So I put the date on which I made each purchase, Visa's ticker, and finally I need to look at the euro to US dollar exchange rate because its price is in dollars and I want to reference my investment in my local currency. As you can see, it gives me a total of €620.70 adding the 31 cents fee. Additionally, I decided to sell Starbucks and reinvest the money into more 5 shares of Texas Roadhouse, because I was not comfortable with the company and trade war. Now let's move to the position sheet and placing the ticker in the first column. It automatically adds the number of shares and the average price per share. We add the financial sector reference in the column, and as you can see we have more than 2% upside in only 1 week, and also is one of the biggest positions of my portfolio with more than 5% allocation. Additionally, this investment will allow us to reinvest 0.02 shares annually via dividends. As we are not already in the month of June, I will leave the monthly upside or downside for the next video on the first Friday of June. However, during these 2 weeks we overperformed the S&P 500 by around 3%, so let's see in June what we have. This has been all for today, dear investors. A pleasure, as always, to receive your great support. Remember that these videos are not investment recommendations and it is necessary for each of you to do your own analysis and consult a financial expert if necessary. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button and activate the bell so you don't miss any of my interesting videos. Thank you for watching the video, and until next time.